Have you ever wondered why a city with so much going against it can score so high on a buyer's list looking to move to Southern California, specifically Orange County, and even more specifically, Ocean Close, South Orange County? Well, I'm going to take you through 8 reasons why you might not want to live in Laguna Niguel. And in spite of these 8 downsides, people continue to love living here. You see, I've lived here for 40 years and I've been selling real estate here for over 30. So I feel quite qualified to advise you don't move here unless you can handle these 8 things. Now, at first I thought there were just 5, but the more I think about it, there's actually 8 things you need to be aware of. And number 7 and 8 are quite interesting, so make sure you stay till the end. And the funny thing is, almost every one of them can sound like a negative at first until you understand why people who live here love it so much. So if you're thinking about moving to Laguna Niguel, let me walk you through the 8 trade-offs, the realities, and the reasons why so many people feel that the trade-offs are absolutely worth it. Let's start with the fog, or our coastal proximity, because this is one of the first things people notice. Yes, being this close to the coast means that there are several mornings when you're going to wake up and get that marine layer. You get some fog, you get that occasional San Francisco type mood in the air where it feels cooler, softer, and a little gray at first. If you're the kind of person who thinks every Southern California morning should look like a postcard at 7 a.m., that may surprise you. But here's the payoff. While inland communities can be absolutely baking, pushing into the triple digits on a hot summer day, Laguna Niguel usually gets a break. The city weather typically stays much more in a narrow range, and over the course of the year, roughly temperatures range between the upper 40s and the upper 70s. And in July, the highs are commonly in the mid to upper 70s. That marine layer and that marine influence is exactly why the scorching inland day can feel much more comfortable here in Laguna Niguel. And that coastal influence is not just about temperature. It's about lifestyle. It's about those breezes coming off the ocean. It's about being close enough to the coast that beach time is not some major event you plan once a month. It's normal. It's part of the rhythm. You are close to surfing, close to fishing, close to whale watching, close to the Dana Point Harbor, close to the sand, close to sunset dinners, and close to that feeling that the water is part of your life, even though you're not directly living on a bluff. And layered on top of that, you also get the benefits of being near some of the more upscale coastal shopping and dining experiences in all of Southern Orange County. That means boutique shopping, elevated restaurants, ocean view spots, and the kind of culinary expectations people often associate with affluent coastal living. Laguna Beach's rooftop lounge sells the view and the vibe. The Marine Room Tavern in Laguna Beach is a bit funky, but it still draws locals with live entertainment, and those are exactly the kinds of places that are close enough to feel like part of your extended neighborhood. So yes, sometimes you get the fog, but the trade-off is you are living in a place where the coast actually affects your everyday life in all the right ways. Now, the second thing you have to be able to handle is the emptiness or the open space. And let me give you the negative spin first. If you're looking for the giant malls, the big box clutter, commercial overload, and shopping centers swallowing every major corner, Laguna Niguel is probably not going to scratch that itch inside this city itself. A lot of the bigger retail experiences are outside the city in neighboring communities. But that's exactly the point. One of the things that defines Laguna Niguel is what's not feeling like it's overstuffed. It was built to feel open, Historically, the city has described itself as having 1/3 of its land designated as open space. And currently, the city information says that over 46% of the land is identified as just that, open space. That is not a small planning detail. That is a huge part of why the city feels the way it feels. What that means is real life is low density housing compared to many other parts of Southern California. It means greenery, it means hillsides, it means visual breathing room. It means you do not constantly feel boxed in by commercial sprawl. The city says it has 31 parks and about 80 miles of scenic trails. And if you have spent any time here, you understand why that matters. You have neighborhood parks, regional parks, we have a dog park, natural areas and trail systems that encourage walking, biking, and hiking, and that's just being outside. So yes, the negative is that you may have to leave the city for the biggest shopping destinations. But the positive is that your everyday environment is cleaner, calmer, greener, and much more livable. A lot of buyers say they want lifestyle, but this is what lifestyle actually looks like when a city protects its open space instead of sacrificing it. Now, third, can you handle living in a city without a high school? That's right, you heard me. We don't even have a high school here. So at this point, we need to understand a little bit about the schools, because this is one of the more interesting realities about Laguna Niguel. There is not a public high school physically inside Laguna Niguel city limits. That's right, it surprises some people. Families here are generally looking at Aliso Niguel High School and Dana Hills High School, both just barely outside the city limits. So your first reaction is, wait a minute, how can a city this desirable not even have its own high school inside the city? I understand that reaction, but here's the flip side. What matters most to a lot of families is not whether the high school sits inside the city boundary line. What matters is outcome. What matters is performance. What matters here is where the kids are actually going, not where they're physically going, but where they're going to learn. And this is where the story gets strong. Aliso Niguel High School's official 2024-2025 school profile says that it serves Laguna Niguel and Aliso Viejo and identifies itself as a California Distinguished School and past National Blue Ribbon School. And consider the reports that 83% of the class of 2024-2025 was college bound, with 43% going to a 4-year college or university and 41% going to a 2-year college. That's a very strong data point. On top of that, school performance sources show that Aliso Niguel High School has around a 53% proficiency in math and about 76% proficiency in reading, comfortably above the California public school average, that are commonly cited around 34% in math and 47% in reading. So if you're a parent looking for outcomes, Aliso Niguel High School gives you a very solid argument that the absence of a high school inside the city limit is not hurting the education quality whatsoever. And Dana Hills High School also brings strong numbers to the table for Laguna Niguel families. Its official school profile says that the school serves Dana Point, Laguna Niguel, and San Juan Capistrano, and the California School Dashboard reports a graduation rate of 94.3%. School performance sources place Dana Hills High School at about 49% proficiency in math and about 80% in reading, again, comfortably ahead of the Board of California public school averages. Depending upon source and testing year, average SAT and ACT figures have also been reported in a strong range, with Dana Hills High School showing solid college readiness indicators. So yes, We may not have a high school right here inside the city, but the bigger picture is the schools that are serving Laguna Niguel and the families are not weak consolation prizes. They are real assets, and that's what matters. Okay, get ready for this one. Number 4, we have no seasons. You heard me, no seasons, but for many, that's a good thing. You have to be able to handle the weather itself, separate from the proximity to the coast discussion. Because sometimes people think the ideal weather means blazing hot pool weather every single day, and that is not Laguna Niguel. Laguna Niguel gives you something better in my opinion. It gives you balance. Summer is generally mild by Southern California standards. July highs are in the typical mid to upper 70s, a few days in the 80s, maybe even touching in the low 90s. But around 60 degrees as the lows. In December, average highs are in the mid 60s and lows are in the upper 40s. So let's translate all of that into real life. It means we do not deal with brutal winters. We do not deal with snow. We do not deal with icy roads. We don't deal with the miserable seasonal punishment so much of the country accepts as the norm. At the same time, we are also not getting hammered by the kind of sweltering inland heat that makes summer feel oppressive. It's comfortable here. That's a major reason why people are willing to pay what they pay to live here. And, oh, by the way, no bugs or insects. You can be outside in January. You can walk the trails in February. You can sit on the patio in the winter. You can enjoy summer without feeling like you're melting. That mild, reliable, year-round comfort is not just a nice bonus. It changes how you live. It changes how often you use your yard. It changes how often you exercise outside. It changes how easy it is to entertain, walk the dog, go for a bike ride, or drive over to the coast without feeling like weather is controlling your life. So if your complaint is that Laguna Niguel is not as hot as the inland Orange County in the summer, my answer is exactly. That's one of the biggest strengths. Expensive because the 5th thing is affluence. Get ready. Now, can you handle expensive? Because the 5th thing is affluence. And let's just say it plainly, Laguna Niguel is an affluent community. The U.S. Census Bureau puts the city's median household income at about $140,452 in 2024. So yes, things can be expensive here. Housing is expensive, restaurants are expensive, shopping can be expensive, and the standard people have can be higher. There is no point pretending otherwise. But what makes Laguna Niguel different from some of the nearby affluent communities, that it tends to be affluent without constantly performing affluence. It's not a place that feels unusually wealthy by people wearing things on their sleeve. It feels much more low-key, more grounded, more family-oriented, more down to earth. That is a very important distinction. There are cities where the affluence can feel flashy, curated, and a little performative. Laguna Niguel often feels more relaxed than that. People here care about the quality of life. They care about comfort. They care about schools, trails, parks, safety, and keeping their environment beautiful. They like nice things, absolutely. But the city's identity is not built around showing off at all. That is the part that makes it attractive to people who want to live well without feeling like they're living on a display case. So yes, you need to be able to handle living in an affluent area. But if you want affluence and understated instead of affluent and pretentious, Laguna Niguel makes a very strong case for itself. And number 6, traffic. Did I tell you? We have traffic. No, not within the city limits, because within the Laguna Niguel boundaries, we hardly have any. But when it comes to commute, now we're having a different discussion. The 6th thing is actually commute time, and the reality is traffic. And again, let's start with the negative. Laguna Niguel is not the place where every major employment hub is sitting 5 minutes from your front door. If you work in Irvine, you're generally looking at sometimes like a 20 to 30 minute drive under straightforward driving conditions. If you need downtown Los Angeles, you're more realistically in roughly the 1 hour range without ugly traffic. Carlsbad is roughly 40 to 45 minutes away south, and downtown San Diego is around 70 to 75 minutes by car. So yes, depending upon where you work, you may absolutely have to commute. And if someone wants to be critical about Laguna Niguel on that basis, it's fair. But here's the flip side. People make the drive because what they get to come home to is awesome. The Census Bureau puts the city's mean travel time to work at 25.9 minutes, which tells you you have commuting as part of your everyday life here, just like it is in much of Southern California. The difference is that you're here. You're trading some of the windshield time for hillside, coastal adjacent, open space, rich community that feels calmer than many places people are leaving from in the morning. You still have access to the 5 freeway, to major Orange County corridors, to Los Angeles when needed, to North County, San Diego when needed, and to the coast whenever you want. So yes, there may be traffic. Yes, there may be a commute. But for many, the commute is not the story. The lifestyle waiting at the end of the day is the commute story. And the next reality I need to share with you is important to see if you're still in the game. This is the one in the beginning of the video I told you to hang around for. Yes, the 7th thing you need to be able to handle is that the price of housing here is expensive. Laguna Niguel is not cheap. Based on the most recent public market data, Laguna Niguel remains a premium South County housing market, with overall median sales prices generally running around $1.4 million, and the recent price per square foot figure reported around $745 to about $775 per square foot. Now, for single-family detached homes, the median sales price is higher, approximately $1.85 million, which suggests that the typical detached home a buyer's looking at is typically roughly 2,300 to 2,500 square feet, depending upon location, condition, view, lot size, neighborhood. All those things matter. In practical terms, Laguna Niguel offers buyers a strong mix of coastal close living, large suburban style homes, and established neighborhoods, but pricing can vary dramatically between entry-level detached homes, view homes, gated communities, and the luxury estates we have. So if someone says, wait a minute, why would I spend that kind of money for a single family detached home? That's a valid question. The answer is that people are not just buying square footage. They're buying the full package. They're buying the weather. They're buying the open space. They're buying access to the coast. They're buying school performance. They're buying a cleaner, quieter, more established, more affluent environment. They're buying a city that feels tucked away but still connected. And the same logic affects rentals too. Housing cost, including rentals, runs high because the demand is tied to the quality of life. People with higher standards of living, and often the means in which to act on those standards, are drawn here for exactly that reason. So yes, the homes are expensive, but people justify paying those numbers because they believe that the lifestyle is worth it. And for a lot of residents, the math makes sense. Oh darn, we have no nightlife either. That's the 8th thing. No nightlife specifically. In fact, Laguna Niguel itself is not really a nightlife city. If your dream is to walk out your front door into a dense bar scene, loud entertainment district, or club-heavy downtown, that is not what this city is. Laguna Niguel is quieter. It's more residential. It's more of a peaceful bubble. For some people, that sounds boring. For other people, it sounds like a dream. And that's where the positive flip happens, because the beauty of Laguna Niguel is that you can live in the quiet without being trapped by the quiet. If you want a night out, you have options in every direction. Just up the coast in Laguna Beach gives you spots like the Rooftop Lounge for sunset views and cocktails, and the Marine Room Tavern for more old school live entertainment. San Clemente gives you easygoing energy with places like Goody's Tavern or Oldie's Tavern. There's even a restaurant row on Camino Real, or in the lineup of restaurants that goes down Del Mar, running from Camino Real all the way down to the beach. Restaurants on both sides of that drive. And further up the coast, Newport Beach and Corona Del Mar takes it even more upscale, with Bar Pendry doing craft cocktails, live music, and DJ sets. The Quiet Woman bringing its long-running late night live music scene. So the way I would frame it is like this. Laguna Niguel lets you live in a quiet little bubble, and when you want excitement, it's close enough to reach out without having to live on top of it every single night. For a lot of buyers, especially people who value peace at home but still want access to the energy nearby, that is a huge advantage. So when you put all of this together, what are you really saying about Laguna Niguel? So stay with me here. We're saying that it's a city where you have to be able to handle some fog in exchange for better climate. You have to be able to handle less commercial clutter in exchange for open space and the trails. You have to be able to handle the fact that high schools are outside the city limits in exchange for strong educational outcomes. You have to be able to handle that mild coastal weather instead of dramatic extremes. You have to be able to handle affluence without feeling overly showy. You have to be able to handle commute to work if it pulls you north or south. You have to be able to handle housing costs that are undisputably high, and you have to be able to handle the fact that nightlife is nearby instead of right outside your window. But here's the real truth. Those are not flaws. Those are not flaws to people who are living here for sure. Those are features and benefits. Those are the exact reasons they choose, and I have chosen, to live here in Laguna Niguel in the first place. This city works for people who want lifestyle over noise, quality over flash, coastal access without coastal chaos, and a setting that feels comfortable, established, and quietly elevated. And if that sounds like your kind of place, then Laguna Niguel may be much more than a city that you're considering. It might be your future home. It may be the one thing that feels right when everything else by comparison feels inferior. I'm Randy Orr with Berkshire Hathaway, changing lives one home at a time.